Hey guys, what's up? Nico again here, and in this special 3D printed profits episode, I have someone on vacation because he can do whatever the hell he wants because he works for himself and he just that's what he does. That's what he does. That's what I do. That's what a lot of people on my show do. So, let's welcome Todd. Todd, where are you? Where are you now? Right now, where are you now?
So right now we are actually, this is Houghton Lake in Michigan.
Okay,
And I live south a couple hours in Charlotte. If you know Michigan at all, we're just outside of Lansing. So,
gotcha. Okay. And so we're just going to talk about Todd's business, how he got started, how he's growing the business, so on and so forth. And as always, all of Todd's links are going to be in the description below. Make sure you guys join us in a 3D printing side hustle group where we talk about, building your own businesses, so on and so forth. I go live on there every week. And yeah, that's it. Make sure you guys stay to the very, very end where I'm going to give you your own product idea for your own 3D printing side business, as always. And Todd, welcome to the show, man.
thanks for having me. Funny enough, I was watching some episodes as trying to glean information to grow the business some, and then in one of the 3D printing groups, you asked if people wanted to be guests, and you know what? I make money doing it. Let's try it. And now here we are. So I was actually watching the show before I even really knew more about it.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. So let's get started here. Todd, what is your background? Like, what do you
Uh,
do?
so my background is kind of varied, but always mechanical. I got a late day diagnosis in life of ADHD, and it makes sense because like all through school, I was really good at things like math and mechanical stuff, and really bad at like language and English that was really strict rule base. I went to college for automotive service. I went to Fair State for that. Took all of their high performance stuff, all of their automotive service stuff, switched over to welding for a couple years. And basically, since college, I have just been in that space. I've been welding, fabricating race cars. I got into racing in 2007. Been doing stock car racing, and that's just if it's mechanical, that's my jam. It doesn't matter what it is. If it has a engine on it or it moves, that's my background. So.
Gotcha. And so, how did you get into 3D printing? And what is your bit? Yeah, let's just start with that. How'd you get into 3D printing?
So to 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 get into 3D printing, I got to back up slightly because it goes with my business. My business is all about front wheel drive stock car parts. We're a very very underserved part of the race car community, and nobody wants to deal with us. We're
Because
not,
rear wheel drives where it's at, bro.
well,
Sorry.
that's just it. Yeah, I mean, hey, it happens. It happens. I mean, we could talk afterwards. I'll tell you some of the stuff we got. I'll blow your mind some of the stuff we do, but it's just one where like these companies, we're buying parts and buying parts and nobody wants to do anything. And it got to the point where I said, screw it, I'll do it. And I have a show that I do that's all about front wheel drive racing, and I got all these people telling me that we need these parts, and I said, fine, I'll make them. And I tried getting other people to do it, and I needed this one particular part that I wanted made, and they're typically injection molded, and they're packers. They're these little U-shaped packers, and I went, I bet I could like 3D print that. That'd be pretty cool. And I started going through the process of trying to find somebody to 3D print it for me. Well, then it's a case of I got to figure out what material to use and sizes and thicknesses and all of these things. And I went, you know what? I'm just going to buy a 3D printer. And I talked with a buddy of mine, and we decided, he's like, dude, we should do this. We could go all in, and then we come up with two or three other small ideas that we could make products of. And so bit the bullet, and he helped fund it. We bought my first printer was a Prusa Mark III plus the new, their big one, whatever the current one is. I wanted something that I knew was going to be reliable. I wasn't having to adjust the bed constantly and worry about the hot end and upgrade everything out of the box. And so we went with the Prusa, and I started working on those little deals. And then everybody just started to come up with product ideas that I could make, and it just kind of exploded from there. So I kind of stumbled into 3D printing because I couldn't buy the parts I needed.
And how much does the business make and profit now? per month?
So it is kind of dependent. I can say that last month was by far our best month because I actually
Give
did a
me an
deal.
average.
We average anywhere from probably $400 to $1,000 in profit a month. Our slow months can be a lot less than that, but our big months can be a lot bigger than that. So,
Okay. And how much was last month?
uh,
Your
so
biggest month was
last
last month, right?
so last month it actually worked out. This is that little bit tidbit you told me to save in the before show. I actually did a deal where I white labeled some of the parts that I make. I went to the manufacturer for I make these radio holders, and I went to the manufacturer at a trade show, and I says, hey, I was just wondering if I could get like the CAD files to do some cool stuff. And the guy's like, dude, I just seen these things on Facebook. I love them. I love all the colors. Do you think you could make them out for these? And he handed me his new, not released yet product. And I went, yes. Didn't know how I was going to do it. Didn't know what, but
Good
somebody like that,
man. You say
says,
yes and you
can you? You
figure it out
says
on the
yes.
way.
Exactly. And so I says, I need the CAD files. And if you could get me like a dummy one, just the case, that'd be great. And he did. I ended up getting them, and we did a deal. I have sent him last month. I sent him 1,000 of those, and
Oh, so you're doing production too.
production, yes. Oh, I do. It's all in house for me. I do everything, all my own designs, all my printing. It's all me.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, in the parts business, I have found that the only supplier I can rely on is me. So sadly, that's why I have to do what I do. But that one, I struck a deal with him, and basically I made $5 profit on each unit, minus the cost of shipping. Over those 1,000 units, I think it
Okay,
cost
so
me
so
two
you're
hundred and
selling
eighty
it to
bucks
him
to ship.
wholesale,
So
right?
yes, and he's marking them up, and he's selling. They have their name on them.
Yeah,
They're straight
no,
up. I'm just white
gotcha.
labeling them. But that was my best month ever because they cut me a substantial check. I mean, like I said, I made $5 a unit on
So
each
how
one.
much was
So
so how much was your initial investment in a 3D printing business on the 3D printing side of the business?
So the very first initial was roughly $1,000, just because the Prusas are $800, and you had to buy both the textured sheet because I'm doing PETG, so I needed the textured sheet, and then obviously the filament. But I ran that machine out of the box stock for 1,700 hours on that machine. But it's one where we've just been slowly rolling. So like I made the first radio mounts, I sold a bunch of them. I bought a second machine. And then again, made more profits. I bought a Prusa Mini, and then I
So how
secured
many
this
machines are
deal.
you at now?
So I'm at 5 at this point. So I have 3 Mark IIIs and I have 2 Mini Pluses. Um, and it's one where the last 2 machines came after I did this deal with the company because I asked them for a down payment so I could order a pallet of filament.
Yeah,
Because
basically.
to fulfill this order, I did the math, and based on, because the nice thing about Prusa Slicer, it tells you how much everything weighs, how many
Yep.
grams you need, 1,000 grams of spool roughly. And I figured out how many I could make, and I did it even where I basically was at 480 grams of plate. So it wasn't that I was maxing out the build plate; it was that I was maxing out the amount of filament I would use. So I would have basically 2 build plates full would leave me between 80 and 150 grams on the roll. But it took me 70 rolls of filament to fulfill that order. And so actually, funny enough, I just went to Rapid TCT and talked to some of the manufacturers, and I'm like, hey, do you do wholesale? Yeah. And they're like, if you
Sweet.
order X amount. And so I actually saved. That's what helped me secure my profits, was because I knew I needed 70 rolls of filament. I got a down payment for all of the mounts, so I could buy the filament, so I could secure the better price to buy that. And by doing that, I actually bought 95 rolls. I bought other colors as well to try out, and colors that I use and stuff like that. So yeah, that was quite the day. I spent $395 shipping all of that filament to my house.
All right.
So
I see
um,
you.
yeah.
Nice,
Well,
man.
you got to try to maximize it. That's the whole point. I mean,
Right.
I ended up saving almost $5 a roll on filament, and when you're using 70 rolls
You're
of
right.
filament,
On the volume
it
scale,
adds
five
up. Yeah,
dollars adds
yeah,
up.
yeah.
So how did
So,
you get your first customers and your first clients, right? So this is one client for
yep,
that, right?
yep.
Um, what about all the other stuff? Like, how did you get your first
So
customers, your first clients?
This is where I'm a little bit different, where I got kind of lucky because the show that I do, it's on Facebook. It's called Front Wheel Discussion, and it's all about front wheel drive stock car racing.
Mid rear is the best. You're saying.
Hey, I'll race you. It's okay. I beat a lot of
I'm
rear wheel drive
sorry.
guys. It's
That's my
okay.
last.
That's
That's
all
my
right.
last
That's all
racing
right.
troll.
Oh, I
That's my
don't mind.
last racing troll.
I don't mind. Trust me, I don't mind. You got to figure I've got 238 wheel horsepower out of a 2-liter Dodge Neon.
Okay.
So,
All right.
we
All right.
we do pretty good. So, all right, baby girl. Daddy'll come over and talk to you in a little bit, okay? I love you.
You see that? Okay. I just
We're
want
on
everybody to just
vacation with the
stop.
family.
That
So,
is the beauty of being able to do whatever you want, you guys. Right?
yep. Yep.
That
And
was awesome. I like that.
now we've got well, the other one. This one's my son. So, hey, go up there with mommy, okay?
That's the first on the show.
This is
By
what
the
I
way.
knew. This is what I
Who's on
knew was going to
vacation
happen.
working.
They're
Blows my
gonna
mind.
they're gonna see me over here, and they're gonna come running out and see my
Yeah.
setup down here by the water.
So how'd you
But
get your first customers, your first clients?
so that's where I was pretty lucky because I had this show, so I had a built-in audience. So I didn't have to do any marketing. I have my own website, so I don't mess with Etsy. I don't mess with any of that. And I knew right from the beginning that was what I wanted. I didn't want to have to try to do all that. So I actually was really super lucky in that I had this built-in audience. I mean, I had my Facebook page for that had over 3,500 likes at the time. I mean, I'm doing a live show where I'm pulling 100 people in at a time, and they're all racers. So I have a built-in audience, and it was actually one of them that suggested these mounts that I make. And so I says, well, I can do that. I can make one of those. And so I made one, went through like 5 or 6 prototypes, kind of landed on one, went through, got all my LLCs and everything, did everything the right way. So I knew that we were good, set up the website. And then I actually went to a big race and I told everybody like, all right, hey, I've made all of these. I'm bringing as many as I can. And I had one printer at the time. And so I literally took the printer with me because we were going to be there for a week. And I set my Mark III up in the hotel room. We'd leave for the day and it would run and it would make these parts. And I sold all but 3 of them while I was there.
Nice.
I
Congrats,
can't
man.
remember. I want to say I sold I sold almost 200 of them while I was there. And it was I walked away. I had those mounts and I had some helmet dryers that I make. I use a USB powered fan that you can put your helmet on top of, and it helps dry your helmet out. And I've sold over $800 worth of all of those products over like 4 days. And so that was the luck for me, was that I had that built-in audience and I went, hey, I'm going to be here where there's 130 racers, come see me. And somebody would walk back to their pits and they'd be holding one and they'd zip tie these radio mounts. They're they're only about this big. And what they do is these mounts zip tie to the roll cage. And so they were walking back, they're zip tying these brightly colored pieces into their car and putting the radio in it. And the guy next to him's like, where the hell did you get that? I'm like, dude, Todd over there selling them. So here they come. So they come over and bring a couple dollars. And it just snowballed that weekend. And I had people mad that I ran out. I didn't have the color they wanted. I'm like, well, dude, I got the website up. You can just buy them off the website. I'll ship them to you. And it's just
What a
snowballed
problem
from
to
there.
have.
So, dude, I was ecstatic. I mean, we literally, my buddy went with me, my best friend went with me, and he cracked up because I actually took a race car. I was racing, and he ended up doing 90% of the work because as we were pulling in, there were like 3 people walking towards the truck because we pulled through the pit. It was actually at Bristol Motor Speedway. So if you're into NASCAR racing, it was literally the NASCAR track, Bristol, a couple years ago, the first year they put dirt down. We were down there racing front wheel drives. And as we're pulling in, we're going through all the long pits, and people were like, oh, hey, there's Todd. He's got the stuff. And so we parked the truck, and I didn't even get back to unstrap the car. And 3 people were like, hey, man, did you bring those mounts? Yes, I did. And so my buddy's doing all the work. He's like, dude, I didn't realize how popular that would be. I'm like, I didn't think I'd sell but like 10 of these, man.
That's awesome.
I didn't think I was going to sell all of these. So,
and what filament are you using now?
So all of the race car stuff is all in PETG. I was like, oh man, yeah, I just need plastic. So I bought like 35 rolls of PLA, and I still have basically all of them because they can't handle the heat of being in a car. It didn't take long to figure out that all of that's going to warp. And so primarily everything's in PETG, but we are expanding out. I'm actually working on a bunch of stuff in flexibles. So I've got different TPUs that I'm working with. We also have some stuff coming out
TPU
with.
is so good when it comes to heat.
Oh, it's really good with heat, but the cool thing is I'm making bump stops with them. So actual suspension components. I was buying them. I had a guy I was buying them from that was 3D printing them. And he basically started ghosting me. I couldn't buy anymore. And I've got people asking for them. And I went, they're 3D printed. I can 3D print them. So me being the guy I am, I went through and we put Bondtech LGXs with Mosquito shortcuts on 2 of my Prusas, because if you're printing flexibles, you might as well do it right.
You might as well would get it the direct
So,
drive.
yeah,
Extruder.
well, it's one where the Prusas are already direct drive, but the LGX
Oh, are they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, all the Prusas. Well, the Prusa Mark IIIs are direct drive. The minis are Bowden. But the LGX setup is the shortcut, so it's literally the large geared Bondtech extruder with a Mosquito that is, I think it's like 11 centimeters away. So the nozzle is 11 centimeters away from those large gears. And I mean, Bondtech advertises this setup as for printing flexibles. And the first thing I printed out of TPU, I just had to change. I ended up, the third thing I printed was perfect, and which is crazy for TPU. But the only things I had to adjust was the seams. I had the temperatures just a little bit too hot, and it was moving too slow actually for TPU. And where the seams were, it was just curling up some. So once I fixed that feed speed, like it's insane how good this TPU stuff is printing. But we're doing TPU as well, getting into that. I've got a couple things. I just come out with a new product that we're making plugs for trailers, the 7-pin connectors. So I needed one for my personal self because I was getting the dirt splashing up. So I decided to make those. So we're selling those in the TPU, but I'm also branching out. We're going to start working with some polycarbonate. And I've got the PC PBT blend. I've got some products planned for that. And we might get into some ABS or some ASA as well for a couple projects that I have planned. And then PLA is coming because I'm going to start doing some other fun stuff. The printers are sitting idle.
Are you doing design services as well?
So no, which is funny enough because some of my competitors have actually reached out asking if I would sell the files to my products.
No.
And yeah. My favorite part
royalty, maybe.
Well, my favorite part is the guys that will message me and be like, "Hey, man, I just kind of want to make one for myself," and I'm like, we're friends on Facebook, and you've already posted that you got a 3D printer and you're going to start making these things to sell, right? Like you made that post, then you messaged me, and you're, "Oh, I just want to make one for myself." Like, yeah, really? Come on. But I just don't have time right now to really offer design services. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm decent at CAD. I've done hand CAD for a long time.
What did you use to design this?
So I use Fusion 360. I was using their free hobby license for a while. And then I just got to be kind of a pain in the butt. And I went, you know what, I'm making enough money. So now I pay for it now. Because like things like being able to export and have, different tabs open, and the DXX files, because some of the products that I'm going to offer as well are laser cut and bent metal products as well. Because not everything's 3D printed that I sell. So that's part of it is being able to offer those have those other uses for Fusion 360. So
gotcha. And so what's next for you, man? What's the future of the company? I mean, marketing's already there. Are you going to add products? Are you going to get on to other parts for cars, different,
Yeah. So there's
help the mid-rear people out.
Well, I've got some stuff that'll help them. So we got transponder brackets. That one's just been released. I've talked about it. It's not actually on the website because I'm on vacation. So I actually was waiting to put it up on the site till I get back, so that way I don't have orders sitting there for a week waiting for me to come back and ship them. But yeah, new products is a big one. I have a full sheet of paper, front and back, and front again, of products that I want to make. Some of them are really easy to do. Some are hard. But the thing that I really concentrate on is if I'm going to bring something out, like GoPro mounts. I get a lot of people like, "Dude, I want a GoPro mount." I'm like, other people make GoPro mounts, and they're like, "No, man, I want your take on it because I know you're going to do it this way." And I'm like, I do have an idea for a GoPro mount, and so like the one that it's about half designed. It's going to have two parts. I can't say what the second one is yet because until I release it, I don't want anybody to steal my thunder on that one. But the other one is there's a lot of static GoPro mounts where they just like mount to the cage or something, and I'm like, yeah, but like there's not a spot on my cage I could put that mount. It would have to rotate a little bit. So I've got one that I'm working on that's going to have some adjustability built into it, not in your traditional like the GoPro arm way. But yeah, more products is the big one, and colors. I'm not gonna lie, I'm addicted to finding colored filament. I currently offer 24 colors, and I have 3 more that I'll be adding, which is a pain in the butt. The people that just print and sell PLA have it made because you can buy 10,000 colors and types and
Right.
that, but PTG is very limited. And honestly, I have 6 or 8 rolls that they're unusable because the companies, it's just bad filament. So it's colors that I wish I could offer, but I can't because I can't,
Gotcha.
do the good one. But new
So
products, new filament, and honestly, we are going to branch into other markets as well. So
good.
some of the rear wheel drive stuff. The big thing is my shop is called the Front Wheel Drive Shop. It's the FWD.shop. Well, a lot of rear wheel drive guys don't want to have anything to do with front wheel drive stuff. So like I offer hood pin plates. Well, even that, it doesn't say front wheel drive on it anywhere. It doesn't actually have a logo on it at all. They don't want to buy it from the front wheel drive shop. So we're going to have a second site start up as well that's just going to sell all sorts of like random stuff. So anything that I 3D print will be
There you
available
go.
there. So we're going to get into, I've done to like the 10 millimeter can koozies. I'm signed up as a reseller program through there for those. I actually signed up for Cinderwing for the dragons just because, well, I want to make a couple for my kids. Why not spend a couple dollars a month and be able to try to sell them, stuff like that. So we're going to branch into that as well because my
Sweet.
printers are sitting
Creature
idle
crate. I'm just
sub.
saying.
Uh, we're getting there. I got to get. That's the next one that I'm going to do, and I'm not just saying that because
That
it's
was not a
you.
shameless plug.
It was. Hey, plug away, Mike. I get it.
It's
I do
my
it all the
show. I can
time.
do what I want.
Exactly. As the host of a show, you get to plug your site and your stuff
Right?
whenever you want.
Damn it.
So
All
I
right.
get it.
Todd, that's it from all my questions, man. You answered them all as we're going. So let's wrap this up with your number one tip for anyone who wants to start their own 3D printing business.
So I've actually, I'm not going to lie to you. The entire rest of this interview has been off the cuff. I've put no preparation in any of it. It's all
It's
just
all
off the
good.
head. But this one, I've actually put a lot of thought into because I wanted something that's a little different. And, I'm a part of a lot of 3D printing groups and I try to pay attention because I want to grow mine. I want to get better. And I think if you're interested in 3D printing for profit, try to find something that you're good at, that you're interested in, to do, because that's the thing with me is this is all race car stuff, and it's the only thing in my life besides my wife and kids at this point that is consistent. My ADHD makes me jump from thing to thing to thing. Racing is it, so I am invested in racing. So like my products are racing related. The other small tidbit that I got is learn how your machines work and learn how it all works. Not just, well, I learned how to level the bed. Learn how things affect it, because why would your gears make, your print have bad texture? Well, it's because they're speeding up and slowing down, and that's why like the large gears work better and stuff like that.
Where the
Your
gears
bogey
aren't
tube
actually
with
catching the
flexing and
filament. Shit like that.
exactly, yeah, and that is where the mechanical side of what I'm doing. I've literally I've had an issue with the Prusa, like very rarely, but it'll be something big usually. And it's like, oh crap, well that happened. It's a filament issue. Okay, well I got to tear it apart. I will have the hot end in like 7 minutes. It'll be out and I will have everything ready to go back together. And bam, it's all done. Like all the upgrades to my machines, I've done all of them because I know how it all works. I know how all of that goes. And it makes your life so much easier. You're not going to have to go and search the forums. You're not going to have to ask people. You're not going to have to do the silly questions. You can figure out like why is it not heating up? Why is it getting clogged? Like what's knowing how your machine works and doing something you actually are interested in. If you can do those two things, I think you can do really well 3D printing for profit.
There you go. Wise words from a wise man. So I told everybody that if you stay to the very, very end, I'll give you your own product idea for your own 3D printing business. And today's product idea is a vase. I don't know if I already said this a while ago, but a vase. right? Just a cool looking vase, right? A vase that with the pattern people haven't seen before, or a vase that is a replica of like an ancient Egypt vase with like little hieroglyphics on the thing, right? How can you make a vase really cool, right? The point of a 3D printer is to be able to make what your mind can imagine. It's materializing what's up here into physical form. Okay. I know it's so hard for some people to imagine, but there's a reason why us 3D printer people, it's like the Jetsons. Okay. I know I just told everybody how old I am by telling you who the Jetsons are. You millennials should look them up. But that's some Jetsons shit right there, you guys. Right? So that's your product idea for today. A vase.
Could I add something slightly to
Go
that?
nuts, man.
Okay, so this is actually something I thought of because vase mode intrigues me. You know, where it's just one
Yeah.
continuous, and you see all the time. Was it waterproof? Is it waterproof? And a friend of mine actually asked me. They had a glass vase. They hated the glass, and they wanted like a mesh thing to go around it. And I says, you know, I could do that. I need the glass part before I can design the dimensions. So they're working on getting me that. But if you're worried about being watertight, or you want something that you can actually like grow a plant in that'll support more abuse, go find cheap glass vases to put inside,
There you
because
go.
then you can have all of the structure. It doesn't matter if it's watertight, because you can put that inside the plastic when you go to ship it out, stuff that thing with your packing material, wrap it up nice and tight, and it just slides in there like a glove, be nice and pretty. And so, yes, that's actually I'm going to do a vase at some point for a friend of mine through the
Todd just stole your
glass.
idea,
So.
guys. Todd just stole your idea, guys. He just stole your idea. So make sure you guys tune in Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific, for episodes just like this. And maybe there's a bonus episode. So always check back on the channel. Todd, thank you for being here, man. Thank you for taking the time out of your vacation to come hang out with us. I really, really appreciate it. Go hang out at the lake. We'll catch you later, man.
Awesome. Thanks.